I used to believe that loyalty would earn me love. Not the loud, performative type, but the quiet, steady kind, a look of pride, a hand on my shoulder, a simple, "we're proud of you." But growing up in my family that was reserved for my older brother John, he was the story they loved to tell. The bright one, the achiever, the one who could not do anything wrong even when he did. When he landed a job, they threw a dinner party. When I got promoted, they forgot to call. When he bought a new grill, it was a big event. When I purchased my first vehicle, it was met with a shrug. Still, I swallowed it and told myself that love does not have to look fair to be real. I carried that belief into adulthood like a cracked mirror reflecting only fragments, never the whole image. Then Hannah came along. With her, I did not have to prove anything. She saw me. Every scar, every silence, every part of me that had learned to exist in the background. When I asked her to marry me, and she said yes, I felt something break open. It was the part of me that still hoped my parents might finally see me too. At first, they played along. We had dinner, they smiled and nodded at our plans. My father even mentioned a caterer. For a second, I believed they might actually show up for me the way they always did for John. Then came the subtle signals. My mother forgot the date twice. My father grumbled about traffic as if the wedding was across the ocean, not 2 hours down the highway. I ignored it because that is what I had always done. Then John dropped his big news during a family lunch. "Massive cookout at my place this weekend," he said, grinning like a kid. "Games vendors, live music. Everyone's invited." It was the same weekend as our wedding. No one blinked. No one mentioned the overlap. I thought, surely this is just poor timing. Someone will step in. 2 weeks before the ceremony, I called to finalize the head count. My mother's voice on the other end was flat. "We won't be able to make it, sweetheart. We already promised John we would help." That sentence sank into my chest like a stone. No apology, no hesitation, just logistics. I did not say much, just hung up and stared at the wall, letting the silence echo louder than her words. Later that night, I called my father, hoping maybe he would see it differently. All he said was, "Try not to take it personally." But I did, because it was personal, it always had been. I could not sleep that night. My mind spiraled through memories I had not let surface in years. Forgotten birthdays, missed performances, empty chairs where they should have been. Now they were skipping my wedding, not for a funeral, not for a crisis, but for burgers and beer in John's backyard. The days before the wedding were a blur. I smiled, for the camera gave friends rehearsed answers when they asked about my parents. I pretended it did not hurt, but it did. The night before the rehearsal dinner, Hannah found me sitting on the floor with my back against the fridge and my eyes red. She knelt beside me, took my hand, and said the simplest thing. "We do not need their version of love. We will build something better." And she was right. Our wedding was more beautiful than anything I could have imagined. The sky turned soft gold as we read our vows. Her family cried harder than mine ever had for me. I walked myself down that aisle. No arm to lean on, no father beside me. But somehow I stood taller. That was the moment it changed. Not with rage, not even with grief, but with clarity. I did not want to prove anything anymore. I did not want to punish them. I just wanted them to know what it felt like to be left out of a life you could have been part of if you had chosen differently. So I stopped calling. No texts, no photos, no "you should have been there." They did not lose me in a dramatic explosion. They lost me in silence. In the months that followed, Hannah and I found our rhythm. Mornings with coffee on the porch road. Trips with no plan and afternoons, where I painted while she read. Her parents called just to hear how I was. That alone felt revolutionary. Then one day, our side project became real. A gallery. We had been dreaming about it quietly. A place where new artists could be seen. Hannah handled the business. I curated and painted. We poured everything into it, scraped the walls, bare-stained the floors, and built it back with our own hands. It was not just a gallery. It was a beginning. A few weeks before the grand opening, Hannah asked gently, "Do you want to invite them?" I hesitated, but then I mailed one envelope. No message, just a clean invitation. They came late, dressed like they were not sure what they were walking into. My name was on the wall in gold letters, Emily Johnson, founder and lead artist. I saw my mother's eyes freeze on it. My father blinked, speechless. They wandered through the space like guests at a stranger's celebration. When they finally approached, my mother said, "This is beautiful." "We did not realize." My father added, "If we had known, we would have come sooner." I looked at them for a long moment and then said quietly, "I figured John's cookout was more your speed." Nothing cruel, just honest. They did not know what to say, and I did not offer them a way out. That night, I was surrounded by people who had actually chosen me. Friends, artists, mentors, Hannah's family. My parents stood on the edges watching a version of my life they had never helped build. Just before they left, my mother reached out one more time. "Maybe we could catch up sometime, just dinner." I nodded politely. "Maybe, but I'm busy. I've got a lot to build." I meant it. They did not just skip my wedding. They skipped the one child who needed them the most. By the time they realized what they had missed, I was no longer waiting.